1. What's going on, everybody? ABJ, welcome back to the podcast. I'm changing up today's episode a little bit. So I was going to do an episode on intrusive thoughts, which was going to be kind of deep, and I was going to be really vulnerable and say some of the things that go through my psycho brain and leave myself open up for more, I guess you would say, judgment because of the way I think, and maybe people get concerned, and I don't really want that right now. I'm not in the space for it. So we're going to switch it up a little bit. So you see in the title of the episode today is Why I Love Horror. So we're going to switch it up and do more of a pop culture inspired episode, and not so much I guess like a mental health backstory, learn more about ABJ style. I mean, you're still learning about me, but more of my pop culture stuff. So Lily is here hanging out with me off camera. I do have some people interested in coming and doing future episodes with me, which is pretty exciting. So I have some people maybe joining me in the near future. Yeah, so the episode will change up a little bit, and we'll have some fun. But let's just do the opening here, and then we'll get into the recaps. But most people assume horror fans just like being scared. But honestly, it's probably the least interesting thing about horror. Horror has influenced my taste of movies, music, wrestling, aesthetic, storytelling, and probably more personally, the real, more than I realized growing up. I think horror has been a huge aspect in why I like dark, occulty things, why I lean into dark humor, why I probably don't take death and dark and sad and depressed as seriously as I maybe should. Because I don't want to say it desensitized me, but it kind of like got me, I guess, in a mind state of just like, yeah, this is a possibility, and this is how dark things can get, and you got to kind of prepare yourself for that. But yeah, so before we jump into today's topic, we'll go a little bit of a weekly recap. So the big thing for me, and the reason why I kind of didn't want to dive into this topic today, is I have a family member who's not doing amazing when it comes to health. So I had missed work Friday. I went to go see them in the nursing home, and it sucked. It fucking sucked. Nursing homes aren't awesome. I don't want to like put down the nursing home that they went to too, but it was rough. It was a mix between a nursing home and like a special needs place. It was a lot. The smell, I couldn't get the smell out of my nose for like 3 days. My family member and I, he was very crucial to me, especially when it comes to the horror aspect. Probably as early as I can remember, a huge reason why I liked horror was this family member and a few others. But so that's why I want to kind of do the horror one as well as get away from the other ones, because like, I don't know, they're obviously going through some health things, and I think that the hourglass is running out of sand, unfortunately, for this person, and they won't be with us much longer. But they're they're sad, depressed, they're beaten down, they're broken, and they just quit. And seeing that, I think, affected me more than knowing that they're going to be gone soon, because I kind of prepared myself for them to be gone soon, and that kind of prepared that for everybody. And I thought, like, going in there, like, all right, then just be as positive as you can, be funny, be lighthearted, do what you gotta do. But as someone who struggles with like depression and all that mental health stuff, I think that's what shined the most, was seeing myself in that situation, and that kind of fucked me up. So yeah, that was my Friday. I actually completely lost track of days. I thought yesterday was Sunday, and today is Sunday, and I didn't get a chance to record it all Friday because, like I said, I went to the hospital, and I didn't record throughout the week because it was kind of like preparing for this spot this weekend. But we did watch some TV and some movies, so I started my little Fandango collection. I was able to pick up Rocky Horror Picture Show for $5, which is kind of cool because my first ever Fandango movie is now going to be Rocky Horror. So we watched that, sang along, had some fun with that. We watched a documentary. What was it called? Maternal Instincts. Mm-hmm. That was fucking crazy. It was a documentary about this crazy broad from Texas. It seems to be a trend every time we watch like a crazy lady documentary or someone doing something nutty. Usually always Florida, but we've been finding all the Texas ones. But this lady from Texas essentially faked a pregnancy and had a baby that she wasn't biologically allowed to have because she had a hysterectomy, and the dark, deep turns it's taken in this dark. I don't want to give too much away, but it's on Netflix. Definitely, I recommend it. It's fucking wild. It's a wild and crazy one. What did you think of it? You actually recommended it. It's already on. Oh, my
bad. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it. I don't know. I also don't think every crazy thing that we've seen is from Texas.
I think when we watched the Mean
no.
When we watched the Mean Girl Murders, I think there was like 6 episodes in a row that were in Texas. Because I even said like another one from Texas.
I think you watched it that weekend. I didn't watch all of it.
We watched it together. We watched like a bunch of them together. We sat in bed and watched the Mean Girl Murders.
The
HBO show.
I think I only watched the one on the girl from The Crash.
No, we watched a bunch of them. A ton.
I believe you.
Yeah,
I don't remember. Sorry.
There's like 6 in a row that were all from Texas. Because I made a joke about it, and you're like, nah. You're like, nah, Texas is fine.
Well, maybe just don't piss off country girls.
Yeah, that might be it. We watched another movie too. I'm just trying to recap. What else did we watch?
I have no idea. My brain has been a blur. Well.
We watched Queen of the Dead. We watched Queen of the Dead.
We watched that last week.
So my buddy, I'll say fuck it. My buddy hooked me up with his Shudder because I'm poor. So I watched George Romero's daughter. It's a Tina. She did a comedy horror movie called Queen of the Dead. That's on Shudder. It's fantastic. I really liked it. It kept a lot of the traits of the Romero timeline and rules and how the zombies react and do things, but also gave it a comedy spin, and it was a very pro LGBTQ movie. It was awesome. Be careful where you're rubbing your arm. Lily's working on crafts while she's doing it, and you're fine. Don't turn it off, because then you're not gonna be able to, like, when you have to talk, you're gonna have to move 100 things. So you just leave it on. Just watch your armor's rubbing up against it. That was really good. I really liked that one. I rewatched Late Night with the Devil with my cousin. Because she's like getting into horror. Huh? What'd you say?
She rewatched it.
I rewatched it.
She rewatched it.
She already seen it?
Yeah.
She told me she didn't see it that night. It was her first
she might have, unless she fell asleep when we were watching. But I showed her that one, and we watched the one. I ended up watching it with you, the one with Anna Kendrick, where she's on a date night. On a dating show.
Oh, okay. She remembered that one, but she don't remember the other one.
Yeah, we watched all of them together. We watched a bunch of, like, this should be on television, but it's not really. Like,
gotcha.
It's a different story.
Yeah, it fucked her up. She was a little nerved by it, but it was she liked it though. But yeah, we watched that one, and then I started watching Tales of the Crypt on Shudder, which is awesome. I can't believe that they used to make children's toys from that show. Because it was definitely not made for children. So I'm kind of slowly going through that with Shudder and trying to get back into my horror, which is a good segue to this because there's a lot of stuff in horror. Wrestling updates. We had a show. I don't know if we talked about it last podcast, but we did a show at a playground. That was a lot of fun. It rained, it poured, got stuck in the lightning a little bit, got out of there, had a good time. This month, for the most part, for June, it's all benefit shows. I'm really not making any money or doing anything when it comes to, like, the continuity of wrestling for storylines and purposes in the month of June for the companies I work for, because both RWE and WTW are doing more benefit shows this month, which is fun, which I have no problem doing. I want to give back to communities and help out, and if I can do that in a standpoint of just being there, commentator, ring announcing, whatever they would need, I try to jump in and help. We'll be at Country Junction this Saturday. Sunday, for a show. I don't think we have anything. What are we doing Saturday?
Pride.
Wilkes-Barre Pride Saturday. We went to School County Pride this weekend, which was nice. I really enjoyed it. Got to see some familiar faces. It's always good to see Delaney. So we got to see Delaney perform. They're just always good, but they're just getting better and better every time. They're just fantastic. Let's see Morgan and Morgan, Divinity Cruise, Autumn. There was a few other performers that were performing, but we kind of walked around. But we had a great time. We hung out with some friends, the Pilgaroo crew, made some new friends through those friends. So we hung out with that group for a while. got some food from Roma, and went back to Pilgrim, had a beer or two, then came home and relaxed. Actually, no, then we went over to Colette and Mike's for their kid's birthday party and had a couple beers and talked and watched the kids jump off the deck into the pool a couple times. That was kind of our weekend. It was awesome. It was very much needed from a mental health standpoint to hang out with people you care about and kind of take a break and not sit in the room or sit and make content. So sorry I didn't get an episode out Friday for you guys. I'm going to kind of record them
What else did we do Friday?
I don't remember. Oh, we went and got vinyls. Yeah, so we're starting a little vinyl collection. Lily's more leaning into trying to collect all the Taylor Swifts first, and then we'll probably branch out and to get other vinyls. We don't have a vinyl player. So that's what we're going to try to save up for once I start taking down some bills and get like a brand new vinyl player and speakers.
And before y'all crazies are like, why are you spending money on vinyl if you can't listen to it? We go to Pilgrim every third
Thursday.
No, third Thursday is open mic. I think it's the last Thursday of every month is bring your own vinyl.
Yeah, and we wanted to participate more with events at Pilgrim now that we both have jobs and we have cars and they're reliable. Because I feel like we've kind of fell out of the community with Pilgrim for a while just because we couldn't be there as actively as we once were. So we want to participate with Vinyl Night and bring some cool vinyls. And I think they're kind of fun to collect. Vinyl shops are really nice. We went to one in Wilkes-Barre called...
I'm sorry. I think it is every third because this Thursday is open mic.
Open mic night.
And it's last Thursday of the month.
Yeah.
So it is the third Thursday. That's bring your own vinyl.
We went to Gallery of Sound in Wilkes-Barre. 10 out of 10 recommend. I liked it.
I love that place.
Not only does it have vinyl, it has DVDs, movies, books. It has VHS. It has Funko Pops. It has T-shirts. It has CDs, cassettes. I mean, it has literally everything. We got some merchandise, some swag. I got a ghost patch. It has a lot of really fun things. I recommend it. I picked up. So Lily got me a ghost vinyl to start my collection, air quotes. But I already had owned a bunch of vinyl from my friend's band, Crowbot, so I had those up in like the attic. And then I thought I had like 2 or 3 up there extra, and I wasn't sure what I had, but I knew one of them was Zeppelin 2, and the other one was Abbey Road Beatles, because I've always been obsessed with Abbey Road, and I like the cover art, and I kind of buy vinyls more of the art on it and not so much the music in it. So that's the 2 I owned, and then I end up finding out that I think I have first press releases. They're not in the greatest condition, but I like them, and I probably will never sell them, so it doesn't really matter if they're first print, second print, third, because they're mine forever, and I'm going to use them, and I'm going to use because I think art should be used. I think like keeping everything super pristine, and I mean, take care of your stuff, but like if something happens to it, that's part of the experience of owning it. Like you kind of like, not everything can be amazing all the time. You can't keep everything in a box and cellophane. You have to use it. Art is created to be used and handled, and like I don't like sneakers. Like I can't wear sneakers and to be like, oh, I got a crease in them. Like no, like you're supposed to get dirt and mud and clean them up a little bit. Like that's part of the experience of like the creation of what you're making. I think making them super rare, and I don't know, I'm just kind of falling out of love with that the collecting world. I like to collect, but I want to open them. I want to see them. I want to handle them. I want people to be able to handle them and touch them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. So that's where I'm kind of at with vinyl. But I did pick up Blink-182's Greatest Hits, and I did get 2 other Ghost albums. So I'm going to try to get those collections, the Ghosts and the Blinks, and then kind of start my collection after that. And
I got 3 albums.
Oh, I got 3, and I got a 7-inch Ghost album. So I can never pronounce their albums because I suck. But I got the Papa. I do them by Papa. So I got Papa 2's album. I got Papa 3's album. And then I got 7 inches of Satanic Panic, 7-inch vinyl that Lily found on a shelf because she knows that's like one of my favorite, the disco ones. I like that. They only did 2 songs, but they're really good. I think that's pretty much all we really did for this weekend. The way these are going to record and go out is going to be like I'm going to record them this week, and then you're going to hear them the week after. Because I think for me and the way I create, it's hard for me to be like I need to get it out, get it done, and get it ready for that Friday. I think I'd rather be a week ahead, and then at least I know I have a little bit of a cushion. So I'm going to be, you're cutting up the wrestling is gay. I just noticed that.
I literally only put 2 more slices in it.
Oh. Sorry, I'm watching what Lily's...
There's a front and back here.
Are you keeping what are you doing with the front?
I'm making things out of them. I'm literally cutting out all of the...
Could you make me something with that one? That's like my first Effie shirt.
Okay.
I appreciate it. You can keep the back piece, like the tie dye.
That's going somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get all that.
Sorry, that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Yeah, the community is doing great. My belt shipping process has been kind of crazy, but I think we kind of nailed it down. It said it should be here by Tuesday, so by next episode, you guys will see the belts. There'll probably be a video on YouTube of me unboxing the belts and doing all of that before the podcast airs. But I'll have my hopefully have my Colt belt and my 3 social media titles. Knock on wood. Let's see how the delivery process goes and if all the belts show up, or we don't know. I'm not having high hopes. This whole process has been wild, but yeah, I don't know. But that's pretty much where I'm at. So let's dive into this horror movie topic and kind of scroll my notes up so I know exactly what section I'm on and what we're gonna do. So part 1. How I found horror. So I'm kind of breaking this down into a few different things. I have my notes, and I just kind of go through it that way. I had someone comment on my YouTube, because I guess in that one clip that Opus Clips made for me, it was just like, I was staring at my phone reading something, and they're like, why don't you just talk, man, instead of reading a script? And I was like, I'm glad you judged my entire content off that 30-second clip, but okay. Welcome to be here. Thanks for the engagement. My first horror movie that I remember, that's tough, because I was kind of introduced to horror through other people. So like, I remember my Uncle Steve dressing up as Dracula and scaring us. I remember me seeing my Uncle Butch get ready for a Halloween party and dress up as Freddy, and that fucked me up. I remember being a kid and attaching myself to Chucky, and I think every other kid who's ever seen Chucky and got attached to Chucky and walking around with a toy knife saying, do you want to play or play with me? I think every kid has that story. It's actually kind of fun watching.
I don't. I have a completely opposite story with Chucky.
Yeah. But like Chase at the wrestling show is like, he's obsessed with Chucky, and he's like likes that stuff. Like, it reminds me a lot of me. But also, like, I remember watching Evil Dead as a kid. I remember watching Tales of the Crypt. I remember, like, that's kind of my earliest memories, is like Freddy, Jason, Michael, like the heavy hitters, the Mount Rushmores, I guess you would say, Dracula, the Universal monsters, because my grandmother was also not a horror person, but she liked the classic movies. So I kind of was introduced to horror through that aspect, through my older cousins, through my older uncles and aunts. So that's kind of where I got into horror. And then growing up, it became just part of it. It was just like, it was kind of like, oh, you're young. I never really had the family who was like, oh, they can't watch this because it's rated this, or they can't watch this because this is in it. Like, the adults around me kind of were just like, now I know maybe this people on the internet are like, that's terrible parenting. Who cares? I don't give a fuck. It's different times. But parents just like, they were adults. They were like, hey, you're going to do this. You're going to be a part of watching these. Like, just know it's a movie. Don't fucking do it in real life. And if we see you imitate or do any of this, you'll never be able to watch this again. And the fear of being taken away from and not being able to watch and be part of the adults and watch things with them and not be stuck in a room as a kid was enough fear to be like, okay, we won't recreate what we're seeing here. Like, this isn't real. It's all designed to be part of the experience of making you feel these emotions of fear, scary or funny or uncomfortability. And it's a movie, and if you have nightmares, you have nightmares. And it was kind of like, we'll open the door, and if this is something you don't want to experience anymore, you can leave. And if you want to watch, just don't be responsible. And that's how we were treated. And I think that was the way it worked for me. And if you disagree, that's fine. If that's not how you raise your children, that's fine. But this is what was done for me. I just remember at a very young age, we were kind of given that opportunity. Now, when it comes to horrors, I do like the slashers. I do like, the elements of like the psychological, but I always loved a monster. Monster movies have always been really fascinating to me. I like the creature. I like the practical effects. I like seeing the monster. Monsters are scary, right? Like, they're not normal. And it was always that creativity of the director or the creator of the movie to be like, well, how can we make this monster our own? How can we make this monster look the way we want it to look? And when I think back at my first monster that like fascinated me. Now you could always say like Chucky's a monster, Freddy's a monster, but they're kind of disfigured humans or humans inside of something else. That's how I categorize them. Leatherface, he's a monstrous man, but he's still a man. Godzilla. Now, does Godzilla fall into the category of horror? I do. I think it's a horror movie. It's a giant monster destroying a city. Now, I know he has become like an anti-hero, and he's become like, oh, we need Godzilla to help us from the other monsters. Like, he's evolved. But like at the end of the day, it's a monster movie. It's King Kong. King Kong's a horror movie. Like, a giant ape was brought over here and got loose and just terrorized the city. Like, King Kong, Godzilla are my first monsters. And then, the creature from the Black Lagoon. Now, this is where I'm going to kind of sound like maybe I'm copping out, but I think vampires are monsters. Even though I know they're human, but something happens to them to turn them into a monstrous character. Deadites from Evil Dead, they were once human, but no longer. Zombies, I think zombies fall into horror monster movies for me, but I think like an actual creature that doesn't have like the human aspect is where it lies for me. Real quick, I'm going to pop it over to Lily. Lily's not super big into horror. She's getting there. She watches some here and there, but like her upbringing with horror and my upbringing are completely different, and there's a lot she hasn't seen. But like, is there a type of horror that you prefer? Talk into the mic.
First of all, I think I have seen quite a few of I haven't seen all of the original classics, but I've seen more horror movies that are like family friendly, like the whole family can watch it. It's not going to be inappropriate, things like that. I did sneak in and watch a lot of Chucky, and then I was like 6 years old at the time, and then I had nightmares about it, and it was very much like you're not allowed to watch things. I watched The Ring in 8th grade, and there was another movie that came
in 8th grade.
Yeah, that's when it came out. I was in 8th grade.
Shit.
Anyway,
I can forget our age gap sometimes.
Yeah, and then I didn't really watch another scary movie until the Paranormal Activity movies came out. And I was actually pregnant with Elena. I watched, I think at that point 3 of them were out, and I watched all 3 of them. I was like, let's watch them again. Like, let's do it again.
That's movies too that get a lot of shit as found footage movies. I like found footage movies.
I was gonna say I think those are more my favorite. I'm like, let's see how much of this like could be believable. Like that you're watching it. Like, obviously it's a movie, but like if I got this movie, if I found it in my attic or something, would I believe it? You know what I mean?
Ooh, I should have you watch VHS then.
Okay.
VHS is a movie where essentially they find that like they go into this house, and this guy, like a really spooky house, and this guy has hundreds of VHSs all over his room, and they just pop a tape in, and it's all these essentially horror movies, like but they don't know how, like it's like a weird, like this guy compilates a whole bunch of tapes of like horrible things that happen to people.
Oh. But
it starts off as a VHS, but then it turns into like, I think each VHS tape is a different director and different producer, and then they it's like a short film that goes into a movie.
Okay.
So it's like 3 different movies in one movie.
Got you.
Yeah. But they all take place in the same universe, if that makes sense.
I think I like those, and I'm more of a I don't mind gore, but I guess to me, like, I think, like, when we watch the Terrifier movies, I'm like, that's so unbelievable. Like, I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I was like, all right, like, you thought it was going to really scare me, and I was like...
I thought the girl was going to fuck you
It's
up.
fine. It's whatever. I think the more psychological ones are what get me,
I'm
that
shocked
scare me
that the
more.
gore of Terrifier did nothing for you.
Yes. I mean, I understand, like, if that was to happen to me in real life, yeah, I'd be scared. But I was like, I guess I think that also I was brought up to, like, not be afraid of a lot of things, but yeah. But I think that I kind of, like, after my mom freaking out on me for the whole Chucky incident, it was very much like, okay, you can't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. So I think that I kind of started going into movies like, it's not real. It's not real. It can't hurt you. It's not real. And I think that's kind of like, I think I still do that a lot in other aspects. I'm like, all right, this isn't like, this is scripted. It's not, you know what I mean? I feel like I kind of have to go into it in that way, but I definitely had a different upbringing than you did.
What was your favorite Universal monster?
I've always liked Frankenstein Frankenstein has always been one of my favorites. Does the what is it? The glob? The glob?
Blob.
The blob. Does
Not
that
a
count?
universe, no.
No? Okay, never mind then.
Wolfman, Dracula, Frankenstein,
I just
Bride
watched
of Frankenstein,
Dracula.
Creature
I
from the
loved
Black Lagoon,
Bride of
The
Frankenstein,
Mummy.
but it didn't really make, like, to me it doesn't I don't think it really works as a sequel.
What?
The Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh. I guess so. I think they try, but it always falls short.
Yeah.
Personally.
I liked it. I just didn't.
Yeah, I think the idea of the character is cool because I think it gives like the women a character to attach to in the
Yeah.
realm of horror because most of the creatures are men.
And she was still, like, beautiful, you know?
Yeah, she was gorgeous and had a great look and spoke to all the gothy girls, but like they always have a hard time writing her into a movie. I know the
Right.
new one that just came out, Bride. I haven't watched
I haven't
it.
watched it yet, but I
but
do want to see that, even though I know you're not a really big fan of Christian Bale movies.
Yeah, he doesn't do it for me at all. Mine is the only one I didn't say. I like The Invisible Man a lot.
I was going to say The Invisible Man, but I didn't know if that one was a Universal
Yep.
or not.
I just think his voice is so good.
I
Claude
know-
Rains.
I don't know if this is considered a horror movie, but League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is also another favorite.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of Universal movies characters. So the
Right,
Universal
right,
ones
right.
are
Like-
universally able to be used by everybody.
Right.
There's no public domain
Right.
on those characters. So the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen leaned into a lot of those characters. Dr. Jekyll and Mr.
Well,
Hyde.
I mean, I think Van Helsing did also, but I think
Yep.
A League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was more. Well, I don't know. I think
believe-
it was. I enjoyed it more, and I love Van Helsing. Van Helsing is probably one of my favorite vampire movies, but.
Well, yeah, and then I believe I don't know if he's actually part of it, but I think they put him in there because of this time period. But I believe Phantom of the Opera is also included in there.
really?
Yeah, I think so.
I've watched every iteration of that movie.
Yeah.
That was
Lon,
that was
Lon
the
Chaney, the man of a thousand faces, or whatever he did. Yeah.
one. I wanted to. That's the one that was like my dream play to watch on Broadway, and it's done. It's
think
been taken off
Broadway-
of Broadway like 2 years ago. I think it
Yeah.
was like, oh, this is gonna be the last one. You're gonna see like the chandelier rise for the last time, and I'm like, oh, this is depressing. I never got to see it.
When I seen the movies and the plays, and I think the play version of it, I think they make it more of a beauty movie and glamour and glitz, and I much rather like a dark spooky. Like he's a monster, he's a creature.
Well, I mean, did you watch the what's her name? Emmy Rossum, the girl from Shameless.
No.
You didn't watch that one with Gerard Butler?
No.
That version? Oh, I mean,
We'll check it out.
he's definitely still a monster. I do think it is a little bit glamorized and like romanticized,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that he's a monster in like every aspect. Like, obviously, yes. Again, you were saying like he's still a man, but I think he's a monster.
I think they take a
also.
lot of the horror out of it. Is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Halloween is definitely a big part of it too. Not so much from a horror movie standpoint, but I think Halloween is that one time a year where you can definitely let your horror movie freak flag fly. And for me, I lean into a little bit. I remember as a kid, I dressed up as the Crypt Keeper, but I think a lot of my Halloween too, I leaned into like, oh, I'm a Ninja Turtle this year, or I'm Master Splinter, or I'm a Power Ranger, or I'm this, or I'm that. And I didn't really do a lot of scary, which is weird because I think scary has been my thing all year round. So I was always like, oh, I'm gonna be like the Riddler this year. I always like, you know what I mean? Like that was kind of where I was at. But like, then when I was older, I don't know. I think I fell out of Halloween too fast. I love Halloween. I just like, it's hard for me to get into like the cosplay dress up thing. But I don't know. Like, with you getting into your craft and your making stuff, I know you said you want to start making cosplay things and doing things. So maybe I'll lean more into it. I think get my body in better shape. I hate
have
my
to
body.
Get money, like fabric is one thing, but like cosplay is so much more. I think that I would do like a lot more. If I wanted to do cosplay, I would want to do more of like foam than fabrics, and like obviously cover it with fabric after or whatever. I'm not really that great at painting, but I think I want to make more mechanical structures when I do cosplay more than like fashion.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And then another big thing for horror for me growing up was the lost art of renting a movie, going to the movie store, going to the video store, and picking out a movie on a weekend with your friends and gonna sit down with your friends and watch a horror movie, whether it be Blockbuster or your local rent movie places that you had in your town. Our town at Monty City had 2 locations. We had Genie's Video and TNT Video, and I remember you would go in and you're like, Dad, I need the card. Mom, I need the card, my membership card. And then it got to the point when you lived in a small town, they're just like, oh, we know who you are. Don't worry about it. You don't need your membership card. Go pick out your movie. Do you have your money? No. All right, cool. When you bring the movie back, just make sure you have your, like, it was kind of like an honor system. It was handled much differently. You know what I mean? Oh, late fee. Like, Blockbuster was cool because, like, it had more of a selection, but your local mom and pop places in this town, they all knew you. Everybody knew each other. And they're just like, oh, like, I was friends with the kids whose parents and family who owned them. So they weren't really like, hey, you're 6 days late. We got to crush you on fees. Like, they're just like, throw us a little bit of bucks, you know, help us to stay open and just go pick out another movie. You know what I mean? It was, I don't know. I loved it. But some horror movies renting, I remember like just going up and down the aisles and just seeing the box art and looking at like Critters and looking at Hotel Hell and looking at like Evil Dead, or oh my god, what was the one with the demon and her like with the eyeballs on her fingers? I think like Demon Night. I don't remember.
Pan's Labyrinth.
No, not that one. It was like a like ghoulish demon. That one always got, you know, the Ice Cream Man where he had like eyeballs and stuff in the ice cream scoopers. Like those movies, like you're like the box. Sometimes the box would get you, but sometimes the box was so cheesy. You're like, this movie's probably fucking terrible. Like they put so much into the box art that you're like, the movie's gonna suck. But that was fun too, is looking at the box arts and like picking out your movie that way. Like I fucking loved that. That was like my favorite aspect of it. And like even today when we were going through the vinyls, like I would go down the aisle and see a vinyl art and I was like, man, I'm so out of touch with the music scene that like you look at an old AC/DC Back in Black, or you look at Van Halen, or you look at like a classic Prince album or Michael Jackson album, and you're like, oh, that's this album, because the box art is burned into your brain. The CD, the 8-track, the cover thing is like stuck in your brain. And I'm so out of the loop when it comes to movies that like movies and music is just like I don't really have that experience anymore of just like memorizing the movies and like going down the aisle and seeing, oh, that's what that is. And I think that's definitely in the digital age is definitely lost.
Cover art.
Yeah, cover arts. Watching horror movies with families and friends is always big. Like I think it's one thing to watch a horror movie, but I think watching a horror movie with someone else and having that experience together and having the debate or the conversation, especially if it's a good like psychological, where it leaves the movie up for interpretation of like, well, what did you get out of it? What did you think of this? Like, what was your takeaway? Like, how do you think it ended? Do you think it was real? Do you think it was not real? I think it's so much fun. But just like what horror makes you feel, right? Like, does it make you feel fear, curiosity? Does it scare you, or does it fascinate you? Does it make you want to learn more about the topic that it talks about? Because like a good horror movie too can also make you dig deeper into why they made their art the way they made it, because sometimes they're talking about real world things that like you should definitely educate yourself on, and they put a horror spin on it of like the way cultures treat people, the way you go to different places and it's not the same as where you grow up, and then it kind of makes you sympathize sometimes with the horror character of just like, hey, they're in their inhabited, like they're in their environment, they were only ever taught one thing, and a lot of times it's an outsider invading their space, invading their territory, and they're defending their territory to the death. And it's just like, it adds a different layer when you think of a horror movie that way. Like I don't know, it's fun to think about. Like, do this people enjoy killing people, or are they just protecting where they're at? It's fun. The weird thing is the more horror I watched, the less I became more about being scared. The scare thing is always there. I hate when people are like, that movie didn't scare me, it sucked. It's like, maybe it wasn't us. Like the scare aspect is like secondary. It's like the psychological. It's to make you think. It's to make you not just think about the person who's surviving the horror, but the creature itself. Why is the creature doing what it's doing? Why is the killer thinking the way they think? What's the backstory there? Why are they the way they are? Like, there's so many elements to think of, and all people just want is they want that adrenaline rush of the fear, and they completely miss the point when it comes to the idea of the horror movie. And that bums me out sometimes. I think people miss out on a lot of good opportunities because of that. And it becomes about the story, and the story that's not even being told on the screen. I think a great example of that is like Weapons, or the movies we did reviews on of Weapons and Dangerous Animals, where you're just like, well, why does this guy do this? Why does he take him on the boat? Why is he so obsessed? Like, how did he get to this point? How did he get so many people and not get caught? Like, I don't know. I like it. Some horror movie is some of the best storytelling, and I love how horror is crossing into not just a horror movie. There's horror TV shows, there's horror video games, there's horror books, there's horror comic books, there's horror everything. Like, the idea of horror has not just become like,
there's horror crochet books.
Yeah, it's become its own culture. Like, there's horror cons, there's horror spaces. Like, the idea of horror isn't just like
Horror
a taboo
bars.
thing that you're not supposed to go do. Like, there's like I said, an entire bar dedicated to horror.
And there's a restaurant nearby too. I think it's in Kingston, around there, that it's all like actual like spooky, like when you walk in, it's all horror movie.
Yeah.
And like everything on the menu is horror
Yeah, and just
related.
kind of going into like, horror isn't just about the jump scares and the gore and the monsters. It's the fear, the grief, the loneliness, isolation, survival, human instinct. There's a lot of layers to horror that I think get something out of people. I think horror is a challenging way to challenge yourself to
Think
conquer
outside the box.
things or get over things or face them head on. I know, for example, for you struggle with horror if they have strong sexual assault scenes. I would never force you to watch one, but for me, like, when I see a movie of someone being bullied or picked on, and then like they kind of overcome that, and that's like a big trope in horror too, of that, it's like, it's almost like a therapeutic thing. I think one of the things too is I think like it could be therapeutic to see it on screen and see how people overcome it. Sometimes not in the most healthiest ways, but yeah. But the Carrie is a girl with special powers who could have murdered everybody and then just had her breaking point. You know what I mean? Like,
She just snapped.
yeah, she just fucking couldn't. Like, if people just left her alone, she was already dealing with enough at home, and then she comes to school and she's dealing with it, which is like the perfect trope of like the weird kid at school, right? Like, why is the kid so fucking weird? Like, let's just pick on him, and then no one ever looks back and goes, what is her home life like? What are they dealing with outside of here? Like, this person has no escape. You know what I mean? Like, it dives into that, and it's not just about, the blood, guts, horror, and jump scares. There's the emotion, the tension, suspense, the characters, the way they connect with the people in the universe they're in. And I think, honestly, that's probably why I loved, certain aspects of that in wrestling, too. I think, like, you think of the character development. I think horror's...
The bad guy has to have a reason.
Exactly. It's a justified bad guy. And I think in horror movies, sometimes the most justified people are the best characters in horror and everything. I think horror really laid out groundwork of storytelling for me, and I think some people think the storytelling in horror is bad and stupid, and I didn't even know I own that still.
You don't.
Is that your size? I thought I had one too, but maybe not. Sorry. Sorry. Lily's going through t-shirts. Yeah. But wrestling influences on horror. This is kind of just directly for me. I know I'm a wrestling guy, so I kind of want to shoehorn that into every episode I do. But like growing up, we had characters like The Undertaker. Later on, we had Bray Wyatt, we had Kane, we had Mankind, we had Abyss, we had Rosemary, we had Sue Young, we had tons of creepy people on the independent scene. I'm trying to think of some that are kind of like sticking out to me. Who's a good horror character on the independent scene? They come and go so quick. Ricky Price, no, I'm joking. No, that was a joke. Horror. Face is kind of like a horror.
Face, but I didn't know if that would count.
Yeah, he's kind of horror-ish in his own way. He's almost like normal. He's like Norman Bates. He's like strong, scary slasher guy, but also like extremely handsome. That like he would definitely lure you in. Oh, fucking Charles Mason. Charles Mason's a great character. He's definitely based off Norman Bates. I know you don't know who that is. But these characters work because I think horror in wrestling is kind of like that segment in wrestling you need. You need your little spooky segment. I think it to bring fear out of somebody based on not just what they're watching of like the fear of the person losing or getting hurt or getting this, but now it adds the element of like, well, will they get hurt worse because now the person they're wrestling is willing to go to the levels of that other people aren't going to when it comes to like physically maiming them or physically hurting them or possibly killing them. You know what I mean? Like Jake the Snake Roberts was kind of like a horror character. He was sicking venomous snakes on people. Like it's good stuff. I love it. How horror shaped my personality, like my dark humor, my alternative culture of how I like, darker, spooky women, music, art, aesthetics. What it got me attracted to, goth culture. Growing up watching Elvira, you're like, boy, that dark hair, bright red lips, pale white skin. It's great. I'm into that. And more people were inspired by that too. Jennifer Tilly in Bride of Chucky. You're like, oh boy, she is not your typical, she's like Marilyn Monroe with black lipstick. I need that. You know what I mean? It kind of created this whole culture. You see guys like Brandon Lee in The Crow, where you had your long black hair and you can wear the leather and the cool shirts. You know what I mean? Like it inspired goth culture, alternative culture. Halloween is huge if you're a horror person, because that, like, once again, Halloween parties is where you can kind of like use your fandom of horror movies to dress up and do that. Paranormal side of things, where it's like, well, let's kind of dive into maybe some of the reality of horror movies and let's go explore haunted places or demonic ideas, or if there's cryptids in these woods, or anything like that, voodoo, or how can you dive into the dark arts and maybe experience your own version of horror yourself, witchcraft. And
what's that dude that comes in with Hamlet?
Oh, Bones. Hamlet and Bones are kind of horror characters if you really think about it. So Hamlet, when he plays a character, going back to wrestling, he plays almost like a Buffalo Bill character from Silence of the Lambs. No, you can cut it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you want to make something for him with that'd be kind of fun, because he wears a lot of denim vests too. But Hamlet kind of has his one character. How I was inspired to see Hamlet is because he was playing a loosely based Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs at a wrestling show. And Bones is kind of like a voodoo god who kind of is also a zombie as well. Voodoo, yeah. Urban legends. I love urban legends. Like those old school stories you would tell to your younger kids, or I haven't done that with your daughters, but like I would love to. I can't wait till they're old enough to like fuck with them a little bit. Like, like what's your favorite? You know what an urban legend story is?
I do, and I've met people
who've been a part of urban legends.
I have like my whole one experience with La Llorona. Like I don't fuck with that. I watched the movie and I was like, okay, it's not like too far off of like what. Well,
La Llorona is a little. I mean, that's an urban legend. I'll give you that. But I'm saying, like, when I think of urban legends, I think of like the babysitter's in the house and someone keeps calling and saying, "Have you checked the children?" And she's like, "What?" And then she goes upstairs and she checks the children and they're fine.
Calling.
No, they're fine. And then she gets a phone call again. "Have you checked the children?" And it keeps going and going. And she finally...
And then it's demon children?
She calls the operator and she's like, "I keep getting these weird calls. What's going on?" And they're like, "The calls are coming from inside the house." That's an urban legend. A woman is driving down the road and a guy behind her.
Urban legend.
That's urban legends.
I mean...
They're spooky little short stories that are they based in some reality?
If anything, that's a creepypasta. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that before it was called creepypasta, they were called urban legends.
I feel like an urban legend is something like Buffalo Bill, like something that has history in it, and then it's like.
Well, the urban legend is it doesn't have the history. It's shared experiences. It's told into a story that has a little bit of fakeness to it to embellish it more. Like the guy driving down the road and someone keeps flashing their high beams at him and he's terrified of the car behind him and he's driving and he's driving and he's driving and eventually he just pulls over and he pulls into place, and he gets out of the car and he like, what are you flashing your lights on for? And the guy goes, there was somebody in your back seat, and every single time they were getting up out of the back seat to hurt you, I would flash my high beams and they would duck back down. So I was saved, like, you know what I mean? It's like, so the whole time the story, you're scared of the car behind you stalking you, and here they're saving your life because there was a killer in your back seat.
So is this just like a horror version of Chicken Soup for the Soul?
Kind of, but they made a whole movie called Urban Legends, but they were like the things that they were big for us growing up, like the urban legend scary stories. And I think they work better living in small coal towns like around here, because there is that, like, sure, we have a population, but this is still very small, remote. Like, things can still happen here, and you would never know. You know what I mean? Like, big city, you kind of have that, like, everywhere you go, you have those people, but then you also have the fear of the big city of just like people wouldn't care. They would literally watch you die and probably not get involved. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, it's scary. But monsters, cult imagery, like I like all that stuff. That's all some of my favorite things. But sometimes people assume horror fans are just negative, and it's actually, from my experience, quite the opposite. I think when people attach themselves to more of the darker, creepier things, I think they have more respect on life. I think they have more of like a valued, like, no, we like watching the person survive, but sometimes it doesn't happen. Like, I think they enjoy life more. To be completely honest, I don't think everyone who watches horror just wants to be depressed, sad, and I think they use sometimes the darkness of the horror to give them the inspiration to get out of it. Like, where someone watches a sports movie and they get that feel-good moment of someone scoring the winning touchdown, I think the horror aspect of it is like, I was the loner scumbag reject society person who survived a traumatic experience, and it made me tougher at the end. Or when they finally fought back against their fears, and you know, like, that's a moment in a wrestling thing. And wrestling, like, when you finally rise up and you get your comeuppance and you're like, the crowd's roaring because you're beating up the bad guy. Like, when someone fights back in a horror movie, you get that experience, and it's just, I don't know, it's awesome. But let's kind of dive a little more into the aspect of the horror community. I haven't gone to too many, but I do like the idea of horror conventions. I love meeting people that are horror fans. Like, you see someone wearing a t-shirt or some type of clothing or something, or a tattoo, and they have the horror movie characters tattooed on them. I just love sitting there and talking shop with horror fans. Like, well, what's your favorite movie? What's a movie that I haven't seen yet? What's a good recommendation? Facebook groups are great for that, or just like Discord communities like my own, the Cult of ABJ. Join us. But just meeting those online communities and talking with people who collect things. I don't have a huge horror collection, but I have like a little thing I'm starting off, you know. The NECA figures are cool, and just like, you go to someone's house and they have like a cool Pennywise thing, or if they're really outside the box and they have a horror movie that's like not so much you know, talked about or mainstream, that's a lot of fun. And then you have the independent creators, and you have the people who are creating these short films and doing things and chasing their dreams and making their own horror movies. And some of them are making these short films that then they get the budget to make like full forced horror movies that you can watch, which is super cool too. Like, I just really enjoy how horror is just like really blowing up and doing well. And just like, I met so many cool people through horror. Like, I got to interview Andrew Hubachek, who is who played Zelda. I got to meet local people who have made their own horror movies. I've got to be a part of a horror movie where I played like a radio disc jockey. I wasn't physically in the movie, but my voice was, and I think that's kind of cool. You know, just talking to someone, and it's not just horror. This can be plugged and played with anything. It could be wrestling, drag, anime. Finding those common grounds and feeling like you're understood when you have a moment in a movie that connected with you, and then you find someone else who found the same connection with the same scene and the same style. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why horror has lasted so long in my life, as long as other things as well. Is like, I think that sense of community of like through art is really, really fun and important, and it makes me feel, gives me little tinglies. And why it still matters to me today is, you know, it talks about where you are now. You know, some of my current favorites. I like the weird ones that not a lot of people talk about. I really like the movie It Follows. Late Night with the Devil was really, really good. Newer vampire movies like Abigail were fucking excellent. Now You See Me was a great one. Like, Scream is always really up there for me. One of my classics. The Dawn of the Dead is one of my favorites. The original. Night of the Living Dead is up there. I do like the zombie movie. I'm from Pennsylvania. I think you have to like zombie movies if you're from here. They were kind of created around here. But what I get from horror is entertainment. It's comfort. Sometimes it's creativity. It makes me think more. It makes me think outside the box. It makes me like, oh, well, if you put the pieces together here, like I like solving the puzzle sometimes. Inspiration. It gives me nostalgia. I get a little bit of everything of that when it comes to horror. And it still is the reason why I still watch horror to this time. Like for a long time after my divorce, like I stopped watching horror movies and I stopped watching movies in general or new TV shows. Like pop culture was kind of like out of the loop for me. You know, I lost not just the divorce, but I lost my podcast team. I lost people. I lost my sense of community. The people that I was around me were gone, and the people who I really enjoyed talking pop culture with were not really in my life like that anymore. And I slowly found more people, but I also became more since my divorce, like without having money or a budget to go out and do things, or you know, I just been diving into my content and staying in my house and just either working and staying in my house. It doesn't really give me the same ambition to watch or consume new things because I can't really bounce it off people or talk to people about it, and that kind of why it slowed me down. But like now it gives me more outlook of like, oh man, I want to go to the bar and talk to my friends about the new movie I watched, or make a piece of content like this where I can talk horror movies with all of you, and make a piece of content where I review a movie and you guys are in the comments or come to the Discord community and we talk about it. And that's great. It's just, you know, it's not just like a genre for me. It's definitely a part of life. I definitely love the horror and comedy are definitely my two favorite genres. Like I like action. I don't mind drama. I don't mind, you know, that stuff, but I love the extremes of both sides. Give me horror, give me comedy, sometimes give me them together, and I'm in. I just love the art style, the creativity of horror and comedy. But fear doesn't last forever. Everyone has a darkness. Everyone struggles. Everyone faces uncertainty. Horror has taught me that uncomfortable things don't have to be avoided. Sometimes you can head them on straight on. You can problem solve to get out of it. You can, you know, find your tribe to defeat the evil. You can find that inner strength within yourself to defeat the bad or defeat the evil, the negative things. But they definitely need to be explored. Just sitting there and being willing to die is not the way to go. So I want to ask you guys, what is your favorite horror movies? Let me know in the comments. What's a movie that made you fall in love with horror? I want to know what monster movies scared you the most. And I'm going to kind of pose it over to Lily. What are some of your favorite horror movies?
I wouldn't put horror in my favorite genre, so
Okay.
I'm not really sure. Like I think again, like I said, I don't think really like spooky movies counts as scary movies.
Horror doesn't have to be like if your favorite horror movie or scary movie is Halloween Town, have at it. You know what I mean?
The Addams Family Values,
There you
the one with Joan Cusack as Debbie, the one that Fester's marrying.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you know what they got me? I asked for a Malibu Barbie.
So you like the Addams Family?
That's Addams. Wednesday Addams has always been like an icon for me.
Yeah, that's horror. It's not horror in the aspects of gore and that, but that the Addams Family, the monsters, that is horror.
I think Tim Burton overall has been like my favorite in spooky categories. I'm obviously a huge fan of Beetlejuice.
All great gateway drugs.
Yeah. Also, like, but other movies that he's done as well, like Big Eyes, that was based off of a true story. Big Fish, that was a good freaking movie too. Like, I think that he has like ways of showing kids adult things, but still making it digestible for children, and it's not like in your face, like. They're talking about murdering people in the Addams Family, and they're like, whatever makes the kids happy, you know what I mean? Like, and she's like, well, I want to go to summer camp in the second one, and they're like, if that's what you want to do, okay. Like, they were supportive parents. Like, it was like that all-American family, just not at all what you would look at.
And
as
they
an
didn't look at death
all-American.
as a negative thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that that beauty in the darkness.
And I think sometimes in the horror community, you'll have people who will gatekeep you and be like, well, you're not a horror fan because you don't watch the most goriest, scariest, disgusting jump scare movies. But I generally think if you're not into that and your whole thing is I just like Goosebumps and kids horror,
things that make you like I think
that's still horror.
I think it still addresses scary things, but it's also like, you know what, like I think the thing that I like the most about scary movies, no matter what genre you're talking about, they almost always come off as like this evil entity, monster, the bad guy, whatever, could be someone in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what makes it scary, right? Like, that's what connects people. That's what gets really, even psychologically, like, this could be your neighbor next door and you don't even know, right? But I think that with more of, like, children's movies, it's like, yeah, no, this is the real world, but it's not all bad.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to look at it like it's all bad.
Yeah, I think the Addams Family is a great way of like just watching them interact, where people are like, they're weird, but they're also like, they're actually very well adjusted.
Like, yeah, when people are like, oh, I want to love like Harley and Joker,
That's
I'm like,
problematic.
no, give me Morticia and Gomez.
Yeah.
Like, they would. What is his
Herman and
saying?
Lily.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss. Like, that's love, man. And it's not like oh, we have to go to those extremes, but I really care about my family and everyone in my family that much.
Yep. No, I totally agree. The Monsters and the
I love the Monsters.
and the Addams Family are two great examples of Americana families, but with a dark goth style
of
to it.
people that just I don't think you've watched them, but Hotel Transylvania kind of brings that back.
Yeah.
With Adam Sandler and Selena Gomez plays his daughter, but they're vampires and she falls in love with a human guy and he's like, oh, like you guys they're bad, they're all monsters, whatever. But then he like falls in love with a girl and he's like kind of looking at all of them like, oh, they're just regular people.
Yeah.
Everybody has feelings, you know?
No, it's great stuff. I love that. I don't think that's I think that's still horror, but it's not in the same vein. And who am I to gatekeep it?
Horror.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with Goosebumps. There's nothing wrong with Are You Afraid of the Dark? There's nothing wrong with that style of horror. And I think that has a place in the community, 100%. All right, well, that's going to wrap it for us. Upcoming episodes, I'm not 100% sure what the next episode is going to be, I'm going to be honest. I'm just kind of like going at a point. I do have a whole structure and a list of things I want to do, but I'm kind of flipping them around. I don't know if I'm going to just always do, the topics. I may throw in a few other ones in between, just so I'm not always feel like I'm being a dread or sappy.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking, I was like, oh, my favorite musical is a horror. It's also a Tim Burton film, but
Sweeney Todd.
Yep.
Rocky
that
Horror.
One's gory. That one's crazy.
Little Shop of Horrors.
I think that Rocky Horror I don't think it's so much gory. It does have aspects that are scary, frightening.
I think
the only
gore in that movie is when Tim Burton has blood on his gloves.
Yeah, but I don't think that there's anything else really gory to it. But like Sweeney Todd, like it's gory. It's made like you're like, wait a minute, this dude's just cutting hair. Wait a minute, why did he do that?
Yeah.
You know?
You can see me at upcoming wrestling shows at Wow That's Wrestling, WTW, our Radical Wrestling Experience. Speaking of Creature from the Glad Lagoon.
Show it off. Anybody want to buy it?
Yeah, Whatnot. I will be on Whatnot soon selling some stuff. I'm trying to save up some money to get a new computer so it's easier for me to stream and edit videos and do all that stuff. So if you want to support, please go grab some merchandise, become a member to the channel, $5 a month, or you can do the 10 if you want to be a baller. I do have a Patreon if you want to do it that way and support. I have many ways you can support. You can go to my fourth wall. I take donations there. Linktree has all of that. I'm just trying to raise some money because my equipment is failing me. Not so much this. This is all brand new. But where I then take it to the next step is the computer and editing and streaming, so I can be more connected with my community. And I'm falling apart with that, and that sucks because I feel like I'm letting them down. So we do have merch. The title belts should be here this week. When they do, I will be making a video for you guys. Like, once again, you'll already have probably seen that content if you're following me. If you haven't, go check out the video that'll probably drop of me doing the belt unboxings. Be on the lookout for the social media championship being defended at your local wrestling shows. I'm very excited for that. I'm super excited to be creative and maybe introduce some horror into the social media championship during the spooky months. But no, I think that's going to be a fun way to like kind of direct a little bit. We're like, hey, here's my vision, here's my way. I want to make these characters develop and work hand in hand with the characters on the local scene to make fun things. But yeah, we have a lot of fun things coming up, so make sure you support. And the last thing to get out of here, people think horror is about fear. No, I already kind of read that in the beginning. Anyway, but it's not for me. Horror has always been about the imagination, the storytelling, the community, and exploring the things that make us human. And that's probably why I'll always love it. We'll see you guys next time. We're out of here.